Hello, welcome to day 64 of 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment. My name is Jason King. I'm just going to pause a moment to allow whoever will be joining us to join live today. So if you're joining, please leave me a comment. I have no idea who's watching unless you leave a comment, and I really would like to be able to feel you, participate with you. And so I have a really exciting announcement today. In expanding the container and expanding this container, deeper embodiment, and my commitment to this container and the expansion of this container, I am now offering a group. It is also called 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment on Facebook. So you are welcome to join. And I have posted the link to the group in the announcement for this day. So just click on the link and it will bring you to the group and I'll accept you. So let me just explain that I was feeling very deeply into the 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment because I hit a block and it was like, oh, what is this? I don't want to do the videos. Why is this coming up? So you may have noticed that I missed 2 days of videos. And I kept hitting that block. I was like, what is this? Why am I hitting this? So I actually talked to my friend last night. Hi, Ganja. Nice to see you. So I talked to my friend last night about it. And what came up out of the conversation was to, there was 3 potentials. One was continue with the 99 days as it is. The other was take it and move it into a group. So no longer have it public. And the third was to just dissolve it fully and completely. So I felt all of those potentials. And the one that felt good last night was to move it behind a group. So make it private. And so then this morning when I was meditating, when I was going really deep into it, I looked and I was like, okay, well, what does the 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment, what does it want? And so as I began to feel into it very deeply, what I discovered was, and this has been an experiment, so, I'm learning. And what I discovered was that when I started to shift the time, then the container got sloppy. So I apologize. So when I started to play with the time, when I started to do it at random times in the evening, then the container lost its focus, it lost its clarity. And as it lost its clarity, then I was also affected in my ability to hold the space. So it was like, oh, okay, what is this? And so now that I felt that, what came out of that was that the container actually wants to be expanded. It wants a deeper commitment. And so that is what is coming out of me now. So now, every single day until the 99 days is up, I will be scheduling the broadcast in advance so that you'll receive a notification, so that you'll know when it's coming, so that you can tune in live, because obviously it's fun to tune in live. And then you get the comment and, we get this interaction and it's right here and now. And then if you want to watch it on replay, then you can also get that. And you know when it is available. So this is my commitment to the container, also my commitment to you, and it allows the container to grow. Also, what came out of that was that I created this group. So the intention of the group at this point is to allow you to deepen. And then at the end of the 99 days, I will dissolve the group, or we'll feel into as a group what wants to happen with the group. But I know that what I'm really feeling is that what needs to happen at this point is that within the group, anyone that wants to be creating, that wants to create a video, that wants to speak within a private group, that they can do that. So just allowing you to integrate what's coming up in the 99 days of deeper embodiment as you're following along. It feels fun to have a group to be able to do that. So that group is open. Feel free to join. And I will be creating special content in the group for whatever comes up in the group. So whether that is posts, whether that is videos, whether that is any random one-offs, that will be in the group. So I will be highly active in the group beyond the 99 days of deeper embodiment daily broadcast that is continuing. So we have about, what, 64.99. Basic arithmetic isn't working for me at the moment. So like 30 something days left. So for the next month, then this is ongoing daily live stream at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is -7 from Greenwich Mean Time. So you can figure that out, or put it into a time converter in Google and figure that out, and then you get the time, and then you can work it into your life in whatever way feels fun for you. So I really welcome you to join the group, and then when you join the group, please introduce yourself with a video or with a post, and then we can get started so that we can all begin to really start to put into practice deeper embodiment together, and that we can go into things that wouldn't, that can't be touched in a public-facing live stream. Like I was talking to my friend last night, and I said, well, there's really stuff that I can't talk about that I like to be talking about in a public-facing live stream, because not everyone wants to or is willing to touch that within themselves yet, and that's okay. It's wonderful that we all have the ability to be sovereign and to touch what we want to touch, and if we're not willing to go there yet, then we're not willing to go there yet. So, if there's perspectives that are coming up that we don't want to feel, then we always have the ability to say, no, not yet. I don't want to feel that yet. And everyone has that right. Everyone can choose, so there's no pushing here. There's no forcing here. It's all, basically based on your own personal volition. So your own personal volition says, I want to be in that space. That feels fun for me. It feels fun to expand that way. Then it's open. And so that was something that came up for me. It's like, well, there's stuff that I want to share, and sharing it in a public-facing live stream is not. It doesn't feel the most fun, because I don't want to be creating something that pushes people into areas that they just don't want to be feeling yet, because that just brings up a whole lot of charges that no one's willing to feel, and that isn't helpful at all. So that is why the group exists, and if you feel a pull to join, please do that. Now, diving into day 64 of 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment, there's a lot to speak about here, because what I'm feeling is that there's been what it feels like is a veer off, a strong veer off into shadow games. Shadow games being, and let's get very clear on this. Shadow games being the idea of feeling yummy without actually getting truthful. That's what I'm going to define shadow games as right now. The idea of feeling yummy without actually getting truthful. So that pulls us into shadow games. So let's look at what shadow games show up as and what they're showing up as. They show up as, I want to feel good right now, but I don't want to be truthful with what I'm actually feeling. So I just want to feel good, but I don't actually want to see what's really here. That is what shadow games look like. So when they show up in the collective, what do they look like? I was streaming through some comments that I saw today on a tweet. And the comments were all making fun of the lone protester that showed up in front of the New York State Capitol building this morning. And so it was about 1,400 comments of people making fun of the guy that showed up to protest on Trump's behalf in front of the New York State Capitol building. And there was even a video of him, and the video of him talking, he was actually sharing. He was sharing from his heart. It was a heartfelt share. And then 1,400 comments just ripping him apart. I mean, 1,400 very vicious, very mean comments. And all of them making fun of him, saying that he's not intelligent, saying that he's an idiot for following Trump, saying that all sorts of very, very negative ideas. Intermingled in there is the idea that that our path is the right path. This is the right direction. This is the right path. And we are unity, we are oneness, we are for equal rights for all, we are for celebrating differences. So a lot of lip service to higher consciousness ideals. However, the actual energy there is not that. The actual energy there is angry. The actual energy there is destructive. The actual energy there is very mean. So this is an example of collective shadow game. So collective shadow game pulls the collective consciousness into lip service towards higher consciousness ideals: love, hope, joy, peace. Well, what is actually there is quite the opposite. What is actually there is fear. What is actually there is anger. What is actually there is reactive. What is actually there is ideas that you are going to take something away from me, or that you are not as intelligent as me, or ideas that say that there is an enemy and you are it, and that are fighting. What is actually there is conflict, not peace. And so it feels like to me that we've had a sharp veer off into shadow games over the past few days. And as I was like feeling this, I was like, oh my goodness, there's not the energy to create this container. Like, where is it? What happened to it? Like, I'm not feeling the energy. You know, and even what came out for me was a fear around it that said, oh, if you're holding the space, and if you continue holding the space, then there's going to be a reaction to that. And it could be quite painful for you personally. And so a fear around being personally what is the word, crucified for speaking about these things. and for holding the space towards truth that I'm holding. So this is what a shadow game looks like. So even there, having that fear show up, then I'm feeling that fear, and I'm like, okay, well, what is this fear? Let me feel this fear, because I don't know anything about it. And so as I felt that fear, then it's quite amusing, because what that fear wants me to believe is that there is something outside of myself that can hurt me. It wants me to believe that, so it's pulling me into that belief. And so as I began to feel that very deeply and become very aware of that, then what became very clear to me was that, where is this coming from? How is this here? What I saw was that my own sloppiness with the container of 99 days, my own sloppiness to the commitment, when I began to not be committed to the time, as far as doing it at a specific time every day, that began to affect the energy in such a way that it allowed for these fears to come up. So wonderful, beautiful. So here I am feeling all of that, and it's like, okay, well, what wants to happen? What is it that wants to come through? And so as I begin to feel what wants to come through, what it's asking for is a stronger commitment to truth, a more solid commitment to truth. Because yes, I could very easily move with that fear that says, oh yes, there's a move towards a shadow timeline, and yes, you're seeing a move towards a shadow timeline, and that could potentially put you at risk. Bullshit. That is not true. That is false. Okay, so I'm perceiving these things, but what is it that's really there? What's really there is feeling the charges around the lack of commitment to myself. And that lack of commitment to myself was the sloppiness in moving and shifting the time very randomly around this container. And so that I saw it within my own energy. And I was like, oh, well, look at this. Okay, so what wants to come up is a stronger commitment. Okay, cool, wonderful. So let me get honest about it, and let me create a stronger commitment and expand the focus, and expand the container and strengthen the focus. Wonderful. So here I am doing exactly that. So this will bring more energy, more momentum, and bring a stronger commitment to truth. So even if what I'm seeing in my dream, in my reality, is still a very strong shadow timeline, no big deal. Because what am I feeling? What am I feeling? That's always our experience. Our experience is always, what am I feeling? What am I feeling is checking into my own experience. So even if the collective is running a shadow timeline and there's no honesty there whatsoever, my experience is what matters. And my experience is aligned with the truth of me, and that is aligned with my commitment to feeling and being the wholeness and completeness that I am in every moment. No matter what comes up, no matter what arises. Without any ideas around it. So let's get clear together. How much projection are we actually running? And the way that I'm speaking about this, is is at a fairly high level. So in order to actually be receiving what I'm talking about and understanding what I'm talking about, you already have to have a pretty clear understanding of what projection is, of what non-dual consciousness is, and you have to have a desire and a pull towards clarity, towards truth in everything. And that is what the focus and what the commitment is. That's the only way to really go deeper. Because if the commitment is not to truth, then when something comes up, that you're not willing to feel in the moment, and there's a contraction around it, then rather than investigating it, then rather than going into it further and going deeper into it and feeling it and fleshing out what is actually there, then the reaction is to cover it up. And how do we cover it up? We project it. We make believe that it is someone else's fault. We make believe that what I'm feeling has to do with the president, has to do with the government, has to do with my lover, has to do with my mother, has to do with my father, has to do with some sort of circumstance, has to do with my financial situation, has to do with an illness. And this is all projection. So what is projection? Projection is the unwillingness to actually be with what I'm feeling in the moment. And so unwillingness may be the inability to actually to go into the feeling. So at this point, getting honest with oneself may be, oh, well, I don't know how to feel that. How do I do that? You know, there's a sensation there, and I see that there's projection happening because it looks like, to me, my perception is that there is someone doing something to me and I'm a victim in this situation. So now the honesty would be that I don't know how to feel that. So I need someone to help me. I need a reflection to come in that shows me, that guides me into how to feel that fully and completely so that it solves. So the beginning in a commitment to truth would be a commitment to self-honesty and self-reflection. What is really going on with me? And being open enough, vulnerable enough to share it, to talk about it, to look at it. There's no embodiment at all happening if there isn't this willingness. If there's no self-reflection going on, then there's no embodiment happening. Then you're essentially stuck, just looping in the same patterns of thought and behavior that you've always had. Constant projection and constant deception. And so we can call that progress when we have a more free and egalitarian society. We can call that progress. But what is really going on underneath the surface? Just because we legislate it to be true does not mean that it is actually true. Just because we make up rules that say this is the way that you should behave does not mean that that is what is really there. Because if it's really coming out of you in a natural way, if it's really honestly your experience that I love you, I love you, I love you, I truthfully love you, if that's truly what's coming out of you, then there's no reason to legislate around it. There's no rule required to force behavior in that direction. It's naturally there. And so this is where we want to be. We want our experience, our truthful experience, to be one of egalitarianism, to be one of true love. Yes, I truthfully love you. I understand what love is, and I feel love within myself. And as I feel love within myself, it is overflowing into everything. And so I do not see differences in color. I do not see differences in you and I. All I see here is love. So I want that to be my truthful experience. If I'm legislating around it, if I'm creating rules around it, if I'm trying to force that behavior, that is a shadow show. It is not true. That is not truthfully my experience. All I'm doing at that point is dancing around trauma. I'm not actually into it, I'm actually feeling it all the way through so that it dissolves. And then what arises when it is no longer there is the truthful expression of wholeness and completeness. So let's get clear about what we're perceiving. We are perceiving a lot of shadow material. Wonderful. When we are honest about it, then that gives us an opportunity to meet it. Then that gives us an opportunity to strengthen our commitment, to strengthen our focus, and to expand the container. And so I welcome you to join me in this expansion in the group 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment, where I will be sharing much more. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.